Hello and welcome to this week's Yoga for Swimmers. I'm going to focus on releasing tension through the quads and through the outside of your hips. So I'm going to start off bringing a little bit of activation through the quads and coming to a comfortable kneeling position. Toes are untucked and knees can either touch or be about hips distance. If this is already a stretch for you here, stay as you are and just work on the breath. Or you can release your fingertips behind your hips. Shift your glutes to the insides of your heels. And you can stay right here. Or on your inhale, lift your hips slightly. Exhale, release the hips down. Lengthen through the crown of your head as you inhale, lift through the hips. Exhale, release the hips down. 4 more times, inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, release hips to your heels. Inhale, hips lift up. Exhale, release them down. 2 more times. Inhale, hips lift, however slightly. Exhale, release the hips down. 1 last time. Inhale, lift through your hips. And then exhale, release your hips down. Shift yourself back forward. Option 1, if your knees feel okay, keep your knees side by side. And shift your heels wide so the tops of your feet make contact with the mat. Now here, if your pinky toe, the top of your pinky toe does not touch down, then I'm going to get you to take variation 2. If the pinky toe does touch down, begin to shift your hips in between your heels. Again, here, any tension on the knees, please come to our second variation. Otherwise, I'll guide you from here. If you're here, just pause. If you have ever had any tension on the knees, take the knees wide, feet together, and sit onto your heels. Now, whether your feet are together and knees are wide, or you're sitting back onto your heels and your knees are wide, both variations work the same way. So you can stay upright here, or you can start to walk your fingertips back. Maybe shifting your hips to the inside of your heels if your knees are wide. If this is enough, you can stay here, or if the knees can stay down and you don't feel that much sensation through the quads, maybe you'll bring yourself down towards your forearms. If you're closer to vertical, tuck your chin towards your chest. If you're closer to horizontal, let your head fall back. And then just allow yourself to breathe here. Maybe close your eyes and take deep, full breaths. Perhaps allowing yourself a 4-count inhale and a 4-count exhale. And the variation should look the exact same if your knees are together, feet are wide. Again, just ensuring you're not feeling anything through the knee as you move through this. Focus on any of those muscles that have a tendency to be tight. And see if with each breath you can soften them, you can release those tensions. If the knees are together and feet are wide and you feel anything through the tops of the ankles, that is entirely okay. Just make sure that you're easing into it. There's no depth that you need to make it to. If you're feeling a stretch anywhere along the way, you're doing it right. 4-count inhale. And 4-count exhale. Breathing in and out of the low belly for 3 more full breaths. Last deep inhale, fill your low belly up. And last exhale, drawing the belly button towards your spine. And if you've closed your eyes, inhale, reopen them. If you're leaning back in either variation, begin to shift yourself back to upright. Once you're upright, bring yourself forward. And either shift your knees closer together or your feet closer together. And then pick up your one foot and circle through the ankle. And pick up the other foot, circle through the ankle as well. Good. And then from all fours, we're going to shift into pigeon pose. So slide the left knee back slightly. And begin to slide your right knee towards your right wrist. And then just slightly wiggle the right heel until it's roughly in line with your left hip. If it's slightly behind, that's okay. And if this is already a stretch for your right hip, maybe you'd like to rest on some pillows, or maybe you'll stay right here. If you want to take it a little bit deeper, tuck your left toes, your back toes under, and begin to inch your back knee back. At no point here in this pigeon pose do I want your shin parallel to the top of your mat. I want this angle, knee is behind wrist, and then heel is in line with the opposite hip. Now, if this is enough and this is where you want to stay, please pause here. Or maybe you'd like to shift your hands forward. Maybe you'd like to shift towards your forearms, your chest, or your forehead. And then as much as you can, I want you to find stillness through the outside of your right hip. That means your entire body finds stillness. That's entirely okay. Or if your fingers need to fidget and adjust so you can stay still through the hip, that's fine as well. See if you could move your chin towards your chest, softening in between your shoulder blades. And see if you can deepen your inhales and lengthen your exhales to a 4 count. If at any point you feel the intensity of the stretch lessening, you can shift deeper. But know that when we're stretching, when we're creating space, when we're practicing yoga, you don't need to try too hard here. It's more about finding the very edge of the stretch sensation, that feeling of tightness. And then breathing there until the tensions leave your body. Just 4 more full breaths on this side. Find your 4 count inhale. And your 4 count exhale. Last deep inhale here. Feel as though you can fill your low belly all the way to the top. And long exhale, emptying it all the way out. And then inhale, softly bring yourself back to your palms if you are not already. Tucking the back toes, shift your back knee in. And then very gently start to send your hips back. Slide the right heel in line with your right hip. And then slide your right knee back to meet your left. Knees under hips, hands under shoulders. Circle through the hips slightly one way and then the other. And then we're going to switch sides. Slide the right knee back. And then slide your left knee forward until it touches your left wrist or is relatively close. And then start to wiggle your left heel in line with your right hip. And you want to make sure that it's on that little bit of an angle. The shin is not coming forward at all. If you need to, you can tuck the back toes and shift your back knee back. And then untuck the toes. Once you feel sensation through the outside of your left hip, pause there. And just keep slight activation through your left toes. You can stay. Or maybe you'd like to shift towards your palms if you were on your fingertips, maybe forearms, maybe chest or forehead. But wherever you are, see if you can move your chin towards your chest. And if the stretch you have worked into, the pigeon that you have worked into today doesn't look like my pigeon, if you feel no tension through the front knee, and you feel a stretch to the outside of your left hip, you're doing this pose right. If there's ever any tension in the knee, please back off. But really, this is about allowing yourself to lengthen your breath, to fill your low belly, and to let go and release tensions. So if you're somewhere that you feel a stretch and you feel that your body could soften slightly, then you're exactly where you need to be. You're not doing this pose better or worse if you're higher, or maybe even if your hips are touching the ground, that's fine too. Soften your chest, chin towards your chest, soften your chest towards the mat. 4 more full breaths here. Last one, deep inhale, filling your low belly towards your front shin. And exhale, maybe melting towards the mat a tiny bit more. And then bring yourself back towards your palms if you were not already. Tucking the back toes, shift your back knee in slightly. And then untucking them, start to send your hips back, slide left heel in line with your left hip. And then slide your left knee back, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Just once today, inhale, begin to arch through your back, lift through the crown of your head. And just once, exhale, tuck your tailbone round through your spine, chin towards your chest. And then inhale, return your spine towards neutral. And that is the end of today's this segment. If you do like to come into Shavasana, to lay on your back for a few moments, maybe you're giving yourself time, you've set an alarm for 4 minutes and you just let yourself lay there in stillness, you can do that. Otherwise, feel free to join me next week. We're going to work a little bit further into the inside of the hips. Thank you.